Hello everyone, we want to welcome you to this week's webinar. Here's Brenndan Cooper at Tiffany Green's Golf Club in Kansas City, Missouri. And as usual, we're brought to you by KickX Golf and Medicus Golf. You know, we have, every day we're working with players, and we have this conversation with players every day, and it's, you know, are you committed to doing the work that it takes to actually reach your goal? Because every day we have players that say, well, I want to get better, or I want to do this, and I want to do that. And our next question is, well, this is what it's going to take. Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
And most of the time, the answer we get is no. Okay? So that's why we're talking about this in this week's webinars. Are you committed to your golf game and to your change in a golf game? So, you know, I'll give you a quick story. We had one of our players in our development program. And he's on a 3-month program. So we go and we load all of his stuff up to his online platform. You know, we spend a lot of time doing that, all these drills, everything, his videos. A month later, he has still not logged on to look at any of them.
Yep.
He goes to practice tee, he's not working on any of the drills we've given them. And so nothing is changing. So, you know, you have to ask yourself, if I'm taking from Brenndan and I'm paying, you know, this $1,000 an hour that he charges.
It's true.
Which is pretty cheap, by the way, for what you get. Because I'm looking for a miracle, not a golf lesson, okay? But if I'm paying this money, why aren't I doing what he's asking me to do?
Yeah.
You know, and you don't need to hit golf balls to do that. We're going to give you drills. You can stand in front of a mirror 15 minutes a day and get this stuff done.
Right. And I think that's something, you know, that's what we try to convey to people is it's not that, you know, you've got to spend hours upon hours upon hours. I mean, it does help, but if you just spend little bits of time doing certain little things,
right,
that adds up very quickly.
Right. And if you're doing drills and doing the drills precisely, the drills are helping you form a new network of feelings and thoughts, you know, that equate to your golf swing.
Right.
And if you don't do those things, you know, there's an old saying in the South, you keep on doing what you've been doing, you keep on getting what you've been getting, right? So if I'm somebody that's swinging up to the top and I'm making a huge outside in over the top move, if I'm not practicing going up here and doing something different, like laying the shaft down, I'm going to keep getting that move.
Right.
Right. So it's not about hitting the golf ball. It's about ingraining the moves so that your body, arms, club, hands can all feel that move going together.
Yeah, and especially, you know, if you're changing, you know, we've had several players that, you know, whether they're a drawer of the ball or a fader of the ball, you know, they'll come to us and say, well, you know, I draw the ball, but all of a sudden I want to hit a fade.
Right.
Okay, well, you know, for us to do that, it's going to take you doing X, Y, Z from, you know, switching some components here and there, you know, and you've got to understand it's going to be a complete opposite thing than what you're already doing. Right, you know, so a lot of times, you know, players, you know, they'll think, well, you know, I'm just going to do this. Well, it's not that easy.
Right.
You know, you've got to understand everything that's involved with it and the process that goes with that.
Well, now, if you understand ball flight and you understand the face, the club face and the club head path relationships, and you have fairly intuitive hands, if you know what has to happen to hit a fade or a draw, and you have those pieces, you can pretty much do that at will. Now, you may overcurve it, but it still hit the shot that you want to hit. So, again, when you're trying to change, and it could be as simple as changing your setup.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody, any golfer of any level can look as good as any professional player at address because nothing is moving. So take your time going through your address position. There's a reason why your coach, or we may change your address. There's a reason why we may change your grip. There's a reason why we may change anything in your swing.
Right.
And we'll tell you those reasons.
Yeah.
But when you're making a change, the first thing from our end is why do you want to make that change? And then we've talked about this many times before. You know, you set up an alignment rod 10, 12 feet out or 10, 12 yards out in front of them and have them start a ball to the right of it, 10 balls, and have them start 10 balls to the left. Whichever one they can easily do is a shot that's kind of in their DNA.
Yeah.
So if you got somebody that says that's a drawer of the ball, but it's overdrawing, and now they want to fade it suddenly, and you give them this test and they can't get a single ball started over there. It's a waste of their time, and their money to try to learn how to fade it, because this is going to be their DNA. We just have to measure down and shorten that amount of curve.
Yeah.
Right? Shorten the curve. That's all we got to do. Make it marginal.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to add to this? I mean, if you have any questions, just put them in the screen up here. And right now, I can't see the screen, so I don't know if we have any questions. It'll take me a while to get to it. But irregardless, if you're gonna make the commitment to work on your game, then make that commitment.
Right.
You know, it's like if you're learning a computer skill, or you're learning how to ride a bike. You know, you keep doing things, all right, until you learn how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, we live in a day and age where we want instant gratification.
Right.
You know, I mean, cell phones and all this stuff that we get in such a quick amount of time is fantastic. But, you know, like Chuck's saying, when you're learning something, an actual skill, you know, that's where patience, which is a lost art anymore,
right,
really comes in. You know, I mean, Chuck can play a wicked guitar. I don't know the first thing about it. So, I mean, it's going to be, you know, I'm going to have some patience if I learn that.
I'm going to get his fingers bleeding.
Yeah, so, you know, all messed up here.
Well, yeah, even Tiger in his press conference, whatever it was, the last tournament, talked about, you know, people think that this is an instant fix, is you can just go out and change your game like this. He goes, that's not the case.
Yeah.
Okay, here is the former #1 player in the world, who's won over 80-some tournaments, probably closer to 90 worldwide, or maybe more.
Yeah.
Okay, so the guy knows how to play golf. And for a guy at that level, or a player at that level, to tell you, you can't do it overnight, that in itself is telling.
Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah.
still have to commit to do the work.
Yes.
You know, and he's taken a lot of bashing, he and Chris, that all his work is not showing the fruits of his labor. But again, you know, after he won the first Masters, Butch had him doing this little move from the top, was trying to get his arms to come down quicker because his body was spinning out too quick. It took Tiger 1 year to get that one move.
Yeah.
1 year.
And that's all he did.
That's all he did, was that one move, and it took 1 year. So for the everyday player to come out and say, fix my slice,
Yeah.
okay, well, we can show you how to fix that, and we can fix it right here on the range. Now, when you leave us, you may not be able to fix it because you don't remember what it was. That's why we give you video, that's why we give you notes, that's why we stay on top of what we're doing.
And that's why more times than not, Chuck or myself, if a player comes to us and they're wanting to fix a certain component in their swing, we're not going to deviate from that direction until it's fixed,
Right.
or until it's in the ballpark of what we're looking for. Right. We're not going to just jump to another thing, because, you know, like Chuck was talking about with Tiger, more times than not, tour pros, they're working on one, maybe two things for that entire year.
Right.
It's not like, well, this week I'm going to work on my grip, next week I'm going to work on all this other stuff. They're focusing on 1 to 2 things to
Right.
get the flight down, or whatever it is they're trying to work on, and they're committed to it.
Right, and they're trying to figure out a way to save half a shot a round.
Yeah.
So it's a total of 2 shots during a tournament.
Yeah, we're trying to save 10.
We're trying to save 10, they're trying to save a half, okay? So let me go up here and see if I can turn on the sidebar and see if we have any questions. So I might be standing in your way here for a second. You're going to see me, but, you know, bear with me so I can check this out.
Just get a good view of that shirt.
Yeah, here we go. Where's my sidebar? There's a Q&A. Okay, that's not it. That's a chat box. Okay, here we go. And I can see a chat, but I do not see any questions in here. So, Diana, if you got some questions, if you can put them in there, that'd be great. I know we had a couple that I got in an email, and I'll try to remember them. The first one was, I don't remember his name, but he was short-sighted himself in the 6-inch deep rough. He had about 6 feet of green to work with to get the ball to the hole. How would you get that shot?
First, I wouldn't hit it there.
That's the first thing. Don't short side yourself.
Sorry, I couldn't resist. Well, I mean, in that instance, you got to, if it's 6-inch rough, then you definitely got to look at the lie. You know, I mean, if the ball's up, mid, or down, that's going to dictate what your options are. And a lot of times when it's in stuff like that, sometimes it's best just to take your medicine, get it out, and get it on the green.
Right.
Players that we work with a lot, they have a tendency to get cute with it.
Right.
And next thing you know, they're either still in the rough or they've bladed it 50 yards over the green.
Right.
But from a setup standpoint, what I would recommend is make sure that, you know, whatever club you're using, and, you know, you want to try to get wedge or sand wedge or something that's got some loft on it. But when you set up to it, again, we're going to assume that the ball is kind of down.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you get set, open the face a little bit. And so when you just set the weight more on the front leg here. Okay. A lot of times players will try to set the weight back and try to help the ball up. And when that happens, you're going to get grass caught between the face and the ball.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to eliminate as much grass that gets between the ball and the face. So set the weight forward, choke down almost to the end of the grip, and that's going to force you to get closer to the ball. And by me getting closer to the ball, that's going to allow me to pick the club up a little bit quicker. And then I'm going to basically, I'm dancing around here. So now you can see I've hinged the club here, and now I'm going to go straight down on it and try to maintain that and really try to get steep with it there.
Right, so it's not a swing through all the way to a big old high finish. It's more of a pick it up and feel like you're just chopping it.
Yes. Yeah.
And just kind of popping it out of the grass.
Right. But make sure you set that weight forward and choke down and really feel like you're really on top of it.
Yeah, and don't think it's just going to bite either. Okay,
Yeah.
It's going to run, so just go ahead and prepare yourself to have a pretty good putt coming back.
Exactly.
I know there was a couple more, but I don't see them on the screen up there. And I don't remember what they were. Usually Diana has them up in there. We may have lost it when we were doing some testing earlier today.
So we can blame her, can't we?
We can blame Diana. So
Okay.
for all those questions that are not answered, you can blame Diana.
It's her
Okay.
fault.
It's her fault, her and her dog's fault. So until next week, we're pretty much done here since we don't have any questions to answer. I want to thank you all for coming in. We're still working on some technical issues. Send in your questions when you register next week. We'll send out a topic, and then make sure you put your questions in there. Also put in topics you'd like for us to cover.
Yep, please do.
We have our we have our club championship this weekend, so it ought to be exciting. The golf course is running really fast, what I heard. So all the short guys are liking it. All the long guys are hating it
They're
already.
hating it right now.
So now the short hitter's going to win this weekend. Mark my word. 37 more days until Red Friday.
I like to think of it as Blue Friday.
Well, Chiefs, what can I tell you? What was going on with the Cowboys? Something that was in the news this week?
Oh, just a fight. That's okay.
Okay.
No news. It's
Oh,
okay.
that's right. Yeah, Dad's got in a fight with somebody.
It's all right. It's
Yeah.
all good.
Okay. Anyway, we'll see y'all next week. Thanks.